Okay, so again, this is for if you missed numbers 11 or number 12. Whichever ones you missed, you need to write down all of the notes and what the questions, what I tell you to write down, and I'm going to check it whenever I get to your facility. Now, if you're at a place where I'm not coming this week, you still need to do this. You need to save it, and then let me see it next week whenever I get to your facility. So we're going to start right now. If you missed number 11, you need to write down this top part. This is what you should have done to solve number 11. Pause it, write it down, and then we'll unpause it. Okay, so hopefully you wrote it down. What you should have done to solve number 11 is you have two options, actually. You could either just plug it in the equation, or you could put the equation into y equals and press second graph. That's kind of where I'm hoping your brain wants to go when you get to your EOC. Is let me just type it in my calculator and see if I can figure this out. So, again, it wants you to take whatever number is in here and wants you to plug it in whenever you see an X. Now, if you're plugging it in your calculator, you need to remember that every time you see an X and you're plugging it in, you plug it in a parentheses. So see what I'm doing? I'm just writing, and you need to be writing this too. So if you need to pause it and go back and write down example 1, I want you to write down example 1. I want you to write down what I am writing down. Okay, so pause it if you need to and write all this stuff down. So again, everywhere I saw an X, I plugged in a -2. And every time I plugged in a -2, I put it in parentheses. So let's do real quick what it would look like if you typed it in. So it would be -2 squared minus 1 divided by -2 plus 1. And you should get 5.5. Now, let me show you how to do it in your calculator. You press y equals, and we're just going to type this in. We're going to type in x squared minus 1 divided by x plus 1. We want to go to our table because we want to see what's beside -2. I'm going to go up, up, up right here. And what's beside -2? 5.5, which is exactly what we got when we worked it out here. So the answer to example 1 right here is 5.5. All right, if you need to pause it to write down number 2, go ahead and do that. So again, we are plugging in 5. So I would plug in a 5 minus 1. Now, I didn't put this one in parentheses because it's not a negative. You could. There'd be nothing wrong with that. So when in doubt, use parentheses. So doing it on the normal screen, you would just do 5 minus 1, which is 4. Doing it in y equals, you would go to y equals, clear that out, and we would type in x minus 1. We would do second graph. And when x is, this time we want 5, because that's what's in the parentheses. When x is 5, we get 4. So both ways will give you the right answer. And last one, if you need to pause it to write down example 3, please do that. Now, these... So this one has absolute value, which I want to show you what it means and then how to do it in your calculator also. So again, these two lines mean absolute value. And we're plugging in -3 minus 2. -3 minus 2, if you don't know, let's do our calculator. -3 minus 2 is -5. But absolute value always means positive. So the answer is actually going to be positive 5. So you would pick C. Now let me show you how to type in absolute value in your calculator. You're going to press second 0, and that very first one means absolute value. So hit enter. Now mine comes up ABS. Some of your calculators will actually have the lines, and then it'll be where you can click inside of it. So I'm going to type in x minus 2 and close my parentheses. And then I'm going to go to my table, second graph, and I want to look up when it's -3, sorry, because -3 is what I'm looking at. So when it's -3, the answer is positive 5. And if you wanted to do it on your home screen, again, you would do second 0. You'd click enter on absolute value. And if you were plugging it in, you'd plug in -3 minus 2. And you would get 5. Okay, so absolute value is always positive. So the answer is positive 5. So if you missed number 11, I want you to write down the 5 problems and then find the given value. So write down number 1. You can just tell me A, B, C, or D. You do not have to write all 4 answers, but I want you to write down number 1, tell me what the answer is. Number 2, tell me what the answer is. Number 3, tell me what the answer is. 4 and 5 are on this next page. So what you're going to need to do is pause it on this page, do 1, 2, and 3. Pause it on this page, do 4 and 5. Okay? Also, if you missed number 11, I want you to write down what you think the correct answer should have been and why you missed it. Okay, so that's number 11. Here we are at number 12. Number 12, write this down. If it asks for a graph, you need to type it into y equals and press the graph button. Okay, so let's do number 12. I want you to write down the equation for number 12. Well, this one right here. I want you to write that in your notes. You don't have to draw the 4 graphs, but you need to have the notes written and you need to have that equation written. So pause it if you need to. So you go to y equals, we're going to type this in, -1/2 x minus 5. We're just going to hit graph. Okay, so it's definitely going down, so it's not either of these two. Let me see. And it goes through down -5, so this is it. So the answer would be B, if this was A, B, C, and D. Because you can look and see that the 2 graphs match. Okay? So if you missed number 12, I want you to write down the equations and the answers of the graphs. So like for number 1, you need to write down y equals x minus 8 and tell me if it's A, B, C, or D. So here's 1 and 2. If you want to pause it and do 1 and 2. Here's 3 and 4. For 3, you don't have to draw the graph. You can just write down the answer. And same thing for 4. You can just write down the answer. So pause it and do 3 and 4. And then if you missed number 12, you need to write down what you think the correct answer should have been and why you think you missed it.